All right, so welcome back to part 4. Today we're going to talk about the Atari, but I'm going to have to move Elvira here and get this out of my way first so I can get back to these. So give me 1 second. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let me move this. This is a Quake in box. I found this recently. I need to get the heptane method that I've been using that Leroy showed me, get stickers off to get these to get this tape and everything off. It's crazy. I made that video. Somebody just commented on that video about the heptane stuff. I'd like to remake that video and go into more detail, but it literally can take this tape off and everything, and you won't even know it was there. Like, it'll show no signs of being on a cardboard box. So anyway, let me set this aside here. Okay, so stay there. Okay, so the Atari 2600. This console is in my top 3. You know, I'd say it's probably my second favorite. I have like memory of this being my first console, but it's very possible it was the NES. It was one of these two. I think I had it before the NES, but I'm not sure because both the Atari and NES I got from like a garage sale that my dad or mom probably got me. But I seem to remember having both of them like very early on. So I often say that like the 2600 was my first console, but it could have very well been the NES. I'm not sure, but anyway. So I've always loved this one. I sort of grew up with this one for quite a while because it was. It's funny. I think that like friends and people on stream and stuff, often think that I'm older than I actually am because I always talk about growing up with like NES and stuff like this. And I did grow up with it, but it was always like every console that I had was always like a generation behind, at least, So, or in the case of the Atari was, several. It was like decades old. So, and the reason why is just because we were always just broke, you know what I mean? So everything I had was extremely secondhand and, came from garage sales and stuff. So I think it's kind of funny because I think that people often think I'm older than I am. But really, it's just because this was cheap. Nobody wanted them. So I kind of grew up with these older games, So, but the Atari is one of my absolute favorites, See, $5. I mean, then this is usually what's funny with Atari stuff. If you buy enough Atari stuff, when you start seeing $5 or up, it's like, whoa, this is a pricey game. Like, you start thinking that this shit is something special because normally, like, normally they're like $1 or $2 at a garage sale, So the Fishing Derby is kind of one that's it's an Activision game. You see Activision games a lot, but Fishing Derby is one that I didn't come across a lot. Hey, that sticker's coming off. Look at that, it just came right off. Nice, that's a good sticker. But it's just one that I usually don't see in the Activision games, so I picked it up. This weird copy. Look at this weird copy of football next to other football. Is this 2 different footballs? Is it the same game, same different cartridge? I don't know. Who knows? Frogs and Flies, these are all good. This game right here, Galaxian, I love this game. This is probably like my favorite game in the series, the whole Galaxian series. I love Galaga, but honestly, I literally think Galaxian on Atari is my favorite, like, of all of them. We did an episode of Portal Pals on this also, and I talked about how it has an orange border. There's like this border that around the screen that's like an orange color, and because of like the cover, I really like warm colors, So I've always liked looking at this artwork. Because of this cover and because of that orange border, I remember as a kid, my imagination filled in blanks that there was like flames, like you were on a fire plant, like a sun, and there was like flames around the border and stuff. And then like years later, after not playing it for several years, I popped it in and I was like, oh, it was just an orange border. So it was just my imagination like running rampant with that one. So I always thought that was kind of funny. These games are, you know, whatever. Gorf sequel, unofficial sequel to Galaga, whatever, in the arcade. Haunted House, yeah. Okay, so let's speed up a little here, because I know I'm just sort of pointing out every game, so I'm just gonna talk about like more interesting ones. Journey Escape. This is a game. Poor cartridge, man, the label, but look at that. When I saw this, I had to pick it up because I always thought it was funny. Shout outs to the Mojo Menace crew. They're huge Journey fans. If you're a Journey fan out there, check out Mojo Menace. They often, you know, talk about it. They're big fans of it. But anyway, Journey Escape is kind of it's literally a Journey, like the band, video game. Another one we did a Portal Pals episode on. You should check it out. We deduced that it's actually not a bad game. It's actually pretty funny, but you have to navigate all the members of Journey to their escape vehicle after like a concert. Like you have to avoid shifty-eyed promoters and like groupies. Not sure why you'd avoid the groupies, but you know, whatever. I think it's because like you have to like they'll steal your money. Fucking women. But anyway, that was a joke. Anyway, check this out. Kaboom. So this is an interesting one. I love the Kaboom game. It's one of my favorites. This is, you know, probably one of the best Atari games ever. Like, it's such a good game. It uses the spinner, and you have to catch these bombs coming down. It's a very fun game. It's very fast-paced. It's very exciting. Then I have this. The Blue Label Kaboom, which I never saw this one for the longest time, but it's like, I guess at a certain point they use different labels or something to save money or some shit, who knows. But yeah, a Blue Label Kaboom. I think I looked into it and that's what it was. Like they at a certain point put different labels on them or whatever, but Blue Kaboom, interesting. Kangaroo. Okay, Kool-Aid Man. This is one of my favorite games. It's pretty interesting. You drive around and you play as like a pitcher of Kool-Aid, and you have to there's these aliens. You're like above a river of Kool-Aid, and these aliens are coming and using big straws to suck it up, and you got to stop them by like running into them, attacking them or something, so they can't drink all your Kool-Aid. In the process, you'll pick up different items like sugar packets and things like that, and sometimes you can transform into the Kool-Aid Man himself, who's like invincible. It opens with a really great Atari like version of the Kool-Aid Man bursting through a wall. It's pretty cool. Kung Fu Masters. See, there's just weird shit like on the Atari. Lost Luggage. This is a weird one too. Every once in a while you come across these really weird, like waxy, like labeled games. Lost Luggage, I looked up. It looks pretty fun. It's just more like a puzzle type game involving like a theme of an airplane luggage thing. It's all right. MASH is a really good game. This is I don't know if this is based off the movie or the TV show. I'm not sure because none of these characters look familiar on the label. But anyway, MASH is really interesting. You fly around and you have to pick up injured soldiers, and then when you get enough of them back to like the hut, it switches to this surgery part where it'll show this like body, and there'll be bullets like slugs in their body, and you have to pull them out. I'm not kidding, like Operation style, remove slugs from them. It's insane. It's pretty crazy. Great game actually. I like it a lot. Mountain King. That was a gift from Brad. I love that game. Motocross. Here's another one. So this, there were two games. I actually have the other one. See this down here? right? This yellow game. There was these two games, motocross and that one. I have this one and the other one separately, but you see how weird this cartridge is? There's a version of this, the more expensive version of this actually has both games in one cartridge. It has like, you see how it's split? It's like both ends will have a cartridge slot and you just flip them. But I actually have both games separate, which is kind of interesting as well. But most of the time, I think sometimes you'll see them like this. It'll be two cartridges in one. It's very strange. You should look it up. No Escape, interesting game. Okay, here is Pitfall and Pitfall 2. Yeah, there was a Pitfall 2 on Atari. Did you guys know that? This is pretty weird because this is another one that I just ran across one day years ago, and I didn't even know there was a Pitfall 2 on. I thought the second Pitfall game was Super Pitfall on NES, but there was a Pitfall 2 on Atari, and yeah, pretty cool. I don't think I've gotten a chance to play it yet. I'm not sure. Phoenix, I really like Phoenix a lot. I think a lot of people don't like that game. So Spectravision, these games are also kind of interesting. Planet Patrol, I don't think I have. I only think they made a very few amount of games, and I picked this one up, and I think we ran across two of them at a store. I picked one up, and Leroy picked up the other one, so we split them. That's the biggest problem. You want to know the biggest problem about having a friend who also collects games? Ideally, you want to find a friend who collects games, but collects games, like he or she collects games for consoles that you're not interested in. That's the ideal thing, that you're opposites in what you like. The worst thing about Leroy and I's friendship is that we both are interested in the same shit, particularly Sega Genesis and Atari, some Atari stuff, not much, but mostly like Sega Genesis and Saturn and all that, which he's a big PlayStation guy, and for a while I thought he was gonna start going hard on the PS1 stuff, and I'm like, okay, this will good, this will be a lot easier for us, because I'm not huge on the PS1. And then it's like, I swear, that motherfucker, as soon as I start getting into something, he's like, you know what, I think I like the Saturn now. I swear to God, he does that shit on purpose. So anyway, but that's always the hardest parts, is you gotta decide, like, when you're going together, sorry, I'm sitting on the floor, when you're going together to like a store or something, you gotta decide how you're gonna do it, and if you find stuff you're both interested in, it's like, you come across something at the same time, who gets it, so it's one of those things. But Porky's, very interesting, based off of the Ranch-Com movie. This is another interesting one, where you have to do things like sneak around a woman's shower and shit. I mean, fucking weird, bro, that's even the premise of a game, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so creepy, but yeah, it's just weird. Porky's had a game. Actually, you know what? There's an Angry Video Game Nerd episode about Porky's. I think is a really good episode. I recommend watching that. It's one of his one of the more interesting ones, I think. Let's see. I don't know what that is. Yeah, racquetball. Look at this. This is like, every once in a while I come across these ones that I've just never heard of. This is another one. Interesting label and all this. Games by Apollo. Like, Apollo. What else did they make? I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah. So, Indiana Jones, good game. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. Like, I have a movie called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I actually have a movie poster for it. Maybe this is a sequel. I don't know. I have no idea. I like that movie, but I never looked any further into it. So, Riddle of the Sphinx. Some of this shit I forget that I have. Yeah, I don't know. I like the cover. $6, It's so easy to find Atari stuff. It's for a little bit, the price was climbing a little bit, and now it's like, I'll go to a game exchange and there'll be like a tub and they're just full of fucking Atari games. They're just like, yeah, just dig through, you know. So that's always nice about it, you know what I mean? Okay, we got Yar's Revenge, Vanguard, you know, pretty typical stuff. Towering Inferno, cool game. Oh yeah, look, here's that other one. Maybe we didn't split them up, because here's that other one right here. This is, yeah, Super Cross Force. This is another Spectra video game. I said Spectra Vision. I meant Spectra video game. So I guess we didn't split them up. Maybe I traded it for that. Tasmanian Devil had an Atari game. So I also have this. This right here is a homebrew game. This is a homebrew game from Atari Age I've wanted for a long time. It's called This Planet Sucks. And it's really, really good. It is such a fun game, but I wanted it for years. It's one of those I just never got around to getting. And a couple Christmases back, Leroy got this for me for Christmas. So I cherish it. But it's a great game. It's a really fun game. Let's see, over here we got we got some Star Wars. I'm sure you guys like Star Wars, right? I got this one, and it's a pretty fun game, you know. I'm sure you play as Yoda or something. Nah, I'm just fucking kidding. No, I got these 3 Star Wars games here. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but there was a trilogy of games on the Atari. Actually, I think there were 4 games, because and I don't have them all, but there's the arcade game, Empire Strikes Back, and this one is Death Star Battles. You know what? I think there was actually 2 games for Empire Strikes Back, now that I'm thinking about it. I think there was there was some instance where there was 2 games based off the same movie because they just played different, but I don't remember fully. But this is one where you fight those Ewoks, you know, we're in the snow. You got to fight those guys, and I don't know what you do in these other ones, but you know, they're pretty neat though. There's a lot of Star Wars games on Atari if you guys are into Star Wars, and Star Trek has you know, a game or 2. You know, that's pretty much it. I have a couple games down here, Coleco and stuff. I do have a Coleco Vision over there. These are a couple. This is a game that Tex sent me. These games. He gave these to me for Christmas one year. Sent me some games and stuff. And I want to play them. I just don't have it in Intellivision. Leroy has an Intellivision. I think we talked so many times about him bringing it over so we could play games, but we just haven't gotten around to it. Couple little oddball stuff here. Atari, what is this? The Atari 400, which I do have an Atari. I have 2 Atari computers. I'll show eventually at some point. So I should, but this is I found this at Goodwill for 99 cents, and I don't want to pass it up because it's like, I mean, you don't see these often. Here, hold on. You don't see these often around here, so I picked them up at Ghost Hunter and Tournament, and what does that say? Tournament and 8-Ball Pool. That's a weird way to say that, but they're cassette games. They use the cassette deck peripheral or whatever. So I always thought they were kind of interesting, you know, so I picked them up. But I, again, haven't got a chance to play them. I have some Atari computers, but I don't think I have a cassette deck for it, you know. What's this? I don't know what game that is. So Doom 2 on the Zodiac. This is a weird ass thing. This is like $2, as you can see. I found this at Goodwill and was just like, it's one of those weird things that I picked up just as a conversation starter, but I was just never heard of it. So the Zodiac was a handheld console. I learned from, well, I looked it up, but I heard more about it from John from Mojo Menace. You know, the Journey guy. He explained to me that it was like, it was a handheld. It was a handheld console back in, like, what year is this? 2003, like the 2000s. There was a handheld called the Zodiac. And look, it used like Nintendo Switch style games. And this is Doom 2 on the Zodiac. It's hard to get this thing out. So look at this thing. It's very like thin. Look how tiny this thing is. It's basically like an SD card in a way, but in the 2000s, you know, it is an SD card. It's so thin that the first time I pulled this thing out, I cracked it. Fucking cracked. That's how thin it is. Look, if I can zoom in, you can tell in the top right maybe there's a tiny like crack because the fucking thing, like, it was so hard to get out of the thing that it cracked it. It still works. It's just a little crack. It doesn't like it. It actually didn't harm it, but I was just like, of course I find this weird thing, and the first thing I do is break the fucking thing. It's stupid. Anyway, that's what that is. Pretty interesting. And then just a couple things. Actually, you know what? I don't know why this is over here. I actually have a spot with PSP games, but that's weird. And then real quick down here, I just have some. These are some of my physical PC games I have down here. This is my knob for my Arkanoid. I'll explain this. We'll talk about that next time or something. This right here, American Meets the House, this was my first, well, that's a Goodwill copy. I think I have my original copy somewhere, but this was my first PC game I ever owned. I love this game and this series in general, but this game is, I love it so much. It's one of my favorite games ever made. I'm obsessed with it. And I got a huge ass, like, I got a huge ass picture. I'll show you here in a second of that. But you know, interesting stuff. I got really into Final Fantasy 11 online. I like heavy for years. I was into that game. I wish physical PC games were still a thing. Honestly, I miss these big boxes that you would get games, you know. I always liked these. And I always like how you open them up and kind of look at, you know, like you can, there would be artwork in them or something like this, you know. Look at Tron 2.0. Look how sick that is. This was a fucking awesome game, man. First-person shooter in the Tron universe. Had the speed bike sections or whatever, but like, you know, you open it up and you get like artwork inside, and I miss physical PC games a lot, but you know. Alright guys, thanks for watching part 3 here, or part 4. I'm sorry, it's part 4. I can't keep track. Thanks for watching part 4, and next time I'll get into the PS2 stuff, which is one of my main collections. So outside of Atari and Genesis, it's one of my mains. So yeah, I hope to see you there. You want a sneak peek? All right. I'll catch y'all later.